Brian, are we all set?
Yep, just let him, yeah, I think we're good.
Oh, no, he said he's all set. I thought you said to wait.
I'm,
Good evening and welcome to the June 9th Zoning Board of Appeal hearing. Can people out there hear me? First, I would like to introduce the board members. To my far right is John Bowner. To my left, to my right is, it's been a long day, is Ken Scholes, our clerk. To my left is Ken Jarvinen, and to my far left is Becky Kilborn, who I'd like to welcome back.
Welcome back, Becky.
Thank you. Becky is pitching in. We've had a couple of board members leave, and Becky retired back a few years ago, and she pleasantly agreed to come back and serve with us until we can find some additional permanent members. So we welcome Becky back, and with that,
Don't forget yourself.
myself, Corinne Doherty, the chair, and from our planning department, Mr. Brian Zakelli. So, board members, we are in possession of minutes from April 28th, 2025. Any comments or edits to those minutes? No. Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the April 28th minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So, the motion passes. On to our cases.
Our first and only case is
Oh, wait a
13.
minute.
Oh, no.
We got a continuance of,
Oh, I don't have that letter. Sorry. We have a continued item, 20 Pope's Lane, which is highway corridor. Request a special permit to allow for 2 storage containers to be placed on the property for over 6 months on a calendar year. The intention is for these to be permanent structures on the site. The request is made by EDM Construction, care of Sean McGill, docket 25-5094.
We are in possession of a letter requesting a continuance to the July 28th meeting. Typically, these are approved, but based on the fact that this has been continued a few times, I would like to get some comments from the board members. And John, I will start with you.
thank you, Madam Chair. I just really don't understand. I mean, this case was filed, I believe, early April, late March. And we haven't seen the applicant since their initial presentation. So I'm not sure, I'm not in favor of continuance, but I really just don't understand why this keeps getting delayed. I don't see a real reason, and I guess that's my input.
Okay, Ken?
Thank you. I think I'll allow one more continuance, and then after that, I think we need to revisit not allowing a continuance.
Okay. Ken?
I'm fine with the continuance for now.
Okay. Becky?
I don't know anything about it, so
Okay. All right.
I'll not comment.
All right. I agree with what other members are saying. I think this has to be the last continuance. The issues are still the same. I understand that they hired a new attorney, and she might be taking a different approach, but this has been going on for a very long time, so I think I would vote to allow it, but as the last time.
Madam Chair, could I ask, through you, so they're not even asking to continue us to our next meeting, correct?
No, they're asking to July 28th.
July 28th.
Next, was the next meeting after June, which we happen to only be meeting once, but it is at the end of the month, but we only meet once in July.
Right.
But what John means is we have another meeting in June, like June 23rd. They're not available on that date for this hearing?
And you know, we've continued this, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 meetings. I don't understand carrying it this long, so I would agree that it's, otherwise we, would have dismissed without prejudice and make them refile. I mean, and have it go out for enforcement. I just don't understand the delays here.
You do not, you have the right to not continue it. I think I don't know about taking a vote to say no more, but I think the idea is no more without progress. I think that's probably
Yeah,
a more.
'cause we know nothing
a more
at this
likely
point,
approach.
right?
Is like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna keep doing this if you're not getting anything.
Correct.
Oh, and
Right, we haven't even received any type of.
Not an update or anything.
An
Yeah.
update
Right,
or
it's- we need more
revision,
time. So
anything,
I think it's
exactly.
without progress.
It just seems like a stall tactic.
And basically, we're gonna be revisiting this whole thing again, because she's gotta go, they have to go from ground zero and explain themselves again.
Well, the good
been
part
so
here is
long.
that I believe that Becky can actually vote on this if you, there's actually only been one meeting.
Right. To
So if you review that
I'll
one
review
meeting,
that meeting, yeah.
and then you can't miss any more, but then you'd be able to vote, you're allowed to miss one meeting.
What was the date of that meeting?
I'll get all that to you.
I
and I can
believe
get
it-
the
I believe it
I'll
was
just send
early
you the YouTube
April.
video,
I
and then
can
that's
look
all
at
you
it,
need.
yeah,
Yep.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to continue this, but I guess to July, what is it?
28.
July 28th, but maybe with a footnote that the planning director reach out and say the board is not going to go beyond that without something.
They need something.
Yeah.
Right.
Now.
Right.
Understood.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Okay, Mr. Clerk, the next case.
Our next case is 13 West Street. This is zoned R3. Request a variance to construct a shed that is proposed to be located 3.5 feet from the side property line where 20 feet is required. The request is made by Mario Pepe, docket 25-5102.
You may approach.
All right, back to the podium, yeah.
Sorry.
Good evening. I'm Vern LeBlanc with LeBlanc Survey Associates. I'm representing Mr. Pepe. I prepared a plan that shows a proposed 12 by 16 shed. And unfortunately, his lot is burdened by a 30-foot wide sewer easement that runs all the way along the right side of the property. So we have to place the shed as close to the easement without going into the easement. And unfortunately, that's where it ends up, the 3.5 feet off the property line. There is a big white vinyl fence that runs along that whole side, the left side of the property. So the shed would be behind the vinyl fence. So the neighbor probably wouldn't see much of it except for probably the roof.
Thank you. Becky, we'll start with you. Any questions?
I did go out and view the property and saw the white vinyl fence. So if the, is there a reason that the shed, are you going to speak to the size of the shed? Why it would need to be 12 by 16? By having that size shed, you're triggering a 20-foot setback. If you have a smaller shed, you would only have a 5-foot setback.
Right, I discussed that
So-
with Mr. Pepe, and this is the size that he felt comfortable with as far as what he's gonna use it for. So we want to present this and, you know, to see if this was
See
acceptable.
if it can be approved.
Correct.
Okay. And I'd be interested to know what the neighbors, how they feel about it. The easement is very wide. I could see that. And I understand the situation, but I'll save my comments for later. But I just wondered whether you had considered a smaller shed, because then you would only need a 5-foot setback.
Right.
Instead of a 20-foot setback.
Right, 10 by 12, I think, right, 120
Exactly.
square
Right.
feet, right.
Yep.
120 square feet, yes.
Correct. No, I presented that to Mr. Pepe, and
So
and
you discussed it?
we did discuss it, yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ken?
Did you discuss or look at perhaps pulling it up forward and maybe centering it? Like, because it's like a triangle, so if you pulled it forward closer to the in-ground pool and shoved it over.
Yeah, there's slope issues. There's slope issues to
Okay.
deal with there, some grading issues, so we felt this was like a flatter area. There's still a little bit of grading involved because it's perfectly not level, which it will have to be to sit the shed on on a pad, but it was more of a slope issue. That's why we pushed it away from the pool, that 14 feet.
Okay. Well, that could be mitigated with some other tactics. I mean, I guess with like pylons
Yeah,
staggered.
yeah, it could be. There's no way I'd make the 20
Yeah.
foot setback, no matter what I did. I
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah.
push it that far away because of the easement.
I was just trying to see if you could buy a little more,
Right.
but, so that's it for my
Okay.
comments.
Ken?
Thank you. The only question I had was to change the size of the shed, so I don't have any further questions.
John?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You said you discussed with Mr. Pepe the size of the shed, and he wanted it for what he was going to use it for. What is he planning to use it for?
I think just storage. Yeah.
Pool equipment.
Storage for the pool equipment,
For pool equipment?
yes. There's an in-ground pool right inside that closed-off area.
I have another question.
And I noticed, so are there any other sheds on the property currently?
There's a garage behind the house and the house.
Yep. And do you know the size of the garage?
Yep. Whoops. It's about 24 by 24.
24 by 24?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Becky, you had another question?
I just, do you have a picture of it, and do you know the height of the shed that you're proposing?
I do not. Do you know the height?
7'4".
I'm sorry.
7'4".
7'4" is the height?
7'4", okay. Thank you. That's all.
I just have one quick question. Is it, I'm assuming it's one of those prefabbed sheds?
I believe so, yes.
Do you know the manufacturer? Like,
Who made it?
If
yeah,
he's-
who made it?
Karine, have him go to the mic, would you?
Oh, could you go up to the mic, please? I'm sorry.
I have to go get one. My first, excuse me. My
excuse
name's
me.
Mario Pepper, 13 West Street.
And you're the owner, the property
the
owner?
owner.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
The only thing I'm trying to say to you, I don't want to get a shed when I don't know what to do.
Oh, no, I agree. But, most people have researched it. They know what it's going to look like. And
Oh,
I'm
what it
just
look
wondering
like?
what type.
Like a four corners.
Okay,
That's what I want to do, really. I mean, if I have to spend the money, I want to spend the money the right way.
okay.
That's a good line. I like that line. Spend it the right way.
Any other questions from board members?
No.
Anything else you want to add before we go to the audience?
Nope,
Okay.
we're good.
Any audience members have any questions? Mr. Bradstreet?
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. When the reference was made for the placement, grading was an issue. When you say grading, are you going from nothing to 5 feet down? Or are you going an inch or 6 inches? Other than the cost, I would think grading would be an easy option for the property owner. And it's too bad we don't have a picture of what he'd like to put there, so we would have a better idea of what might work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Could you address the grading issue? Just give us a little more detail?
I wish I had taken.
Into the mic,
Yeah,
please.
into the
I
mic.
wish I had taken a picture to bring in to show you, but it's, once you leave the back of the pool, the land drops off. I can't give you numbers because we didn't do a topo survey, but it definitely drops off. And this area here seemed to be the least disruptive relative to the grading. And plus, I put it right in the corner of the easement, obviously not going into the easement, but as close as I could get by pushing it back to 14 feet off of the pool fence.
So what you're saying is, after the pool, it drops off considerably, and then it kind of levels off a little bit?
Well, it doesn't, it's not, I wouldn't say considerably, a couple feet,
It's not slope a lot.
yeah,
The way you want to put it, it's perfect.
yeah, where,
If you go to the right side,
it
it
slopes.
will slope a little bit, but where you want to put it, it's not a problem here. It's pretty flat.
Okay, okay. Board members, any other questions? Brian, anyone online with a question?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else from the audience before we?
Hi there, Linda Polcari, Pine Street. I was just curious, do we have like a live photo instead of like a map? I'm just curious as to how it looks.
Well,
I mean,
Is that-
I can put up a satellite. Just,
Sure.
you know.
Is that okay to ask for? I'm just curious. It's not,
Are you asking what it's going to look like what type of shed, or what the backyard looks like?
yeah, I'm just curious about how the ground looks, I guess.
Okay.
From, I don't know if you can tell it from the top
Okay.
or,
Yeah, we can see what we get. Okay.
Now or formerly of.
Let me zoom in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of the only place to put it.
it's probably just the deck.
Basically, if, you'd either allow a shed anywhere behind here, or you wouldn't, meaning that you can't pull it too much closer to the pool, because you can't be within 10 feet of the pool. And, this is actually under the amount of square footage for a building permit. So a building permit's 200 square feet. So this is not even a building permit. This is an accessory structure permit, simply for obviously zoning compliance. But technically, it does not trigger a building permit, this project.
So, and if you look at the red line to the right, like the property line, you have to remember that that 30-foot easement is 30 feet inward. So it doesn't really give you much room.
So that's the center line of the sewer easement, the red, sorry.
I'm sorry, sewer.
So it's a sewer, it's a
Yep.
30-foot wide sewer easement that actually goes over, it looks like the impervious part around the pool.
So does that mean, Brian, through you, Madam Chair, is the pool encroaching on that easement?
No, I mean, typically, it's saying what that says, 8 PVC. I would imagine, like, typically the way, so, sorry, that's like the actual line, the location of the line. But the sewer easement, we really gotta, what's more accurate is the plan rather than the GIS, to be honest, because this is still not accurate within a few feet.
It's
This is
just
like a
pad of it.
representation of it. So
Zero
this is
pad.
not exactly where that line is. So just because it looks like that, I would say that it's not exactly in that location. It's, I believe, 2 to 5 feet off compared, because it's based upon an aerial,
I see.
yeah, so it is not exactly where that red line is. What we can rely on, though, however, is the survey plan.
Yeah, but it's over on the survey plan,
And
too.
see the survey plan, so that
over
actually
even
does
more.
check out. So we would
Probably
say that,
decking.
so then we would say, yes, but that's not the center line, that's the edge of it. So typically, the way it works is you have a 30-foot wide, whatever, 50-foot wide easement, and whatever you actually need is somewhere within, it can be anywhere within that easement.
Yeah,
You
tho-
want,
those
you want
lines
it,
aren't-
right, yeah, you want it to be towards the middle, but it doesn't always get there for a number of reasons, probably because of grading issues or other infrastructure under the ground or whatever it might be. So, but I would believe that the 30-foot wide easement, I would believe this plan more than I would believe the representation on the GIS.
Oh, no, I agree with that, too. And you also mentioned that there's potential conservation issue here, too?
This is a minor project permit. It's administrative. They don't have to go in front of Concom because it's so small. It's filling out a piece of paper with the plan, and we give them the permit.
Okay. Okay. But they do have to, there is an extra step, because,
There's yes, it's a 4-minute step. But
Okay.
yeah, but technically,
but
yes.
but it is a step.
But it is a step, yes.
Okay, all right, comments. Becky?
It's a beautiful piece of property and very well maintained. I can tell you take a lot of care with it. Where the shed is really far, far back from the structures and the houses. And not hearing anything from neighbors, I have to assume that they are okay with it. My only concern would be a height, that he doesn't put a 2-story structure there, because he could, right?
Yeah, so, but you can definitely, because you are giving relief here.
Right.
So, required, the maximum height of an accessory structure is 20 feet. However, you have
Okay,
some leeway here. He's saying 7'4", you could say not a maximum, not to exceed 10, or you
Okay.
could say whatever you want
right.
in terms of only if it's gonna.
I think
Yeah,
7'4" seems too short for
Up to
me.
the microphone.
You don't say
plus the roof, so,
plus the-
Yeah, plus,
the
yeah.
height, so you can walk in,
Yes,
plus the roof,
yeah.
so it's probably like 9.5, it's
Okay.
probably 10.
Okay,
So I would be in favor of this, but I would like some restriction on the height.
okay. Ken?
So I saw the fence, the tall fence, vinyl fence, and then, and it looked like the neighbor on the other side was, like, there's a lot of room between that and the fence and the house, and it looks properly, spaced, according to everything here, I think. And, like Becky was saying, the landscaping over by the easement part, or to the right, was beautiful. That, the rock and the little maple tree, red maple, and all that stuff, yeah, it looked really good. So I'd be in favor of this, definitely. Yep.
Ken?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, you're a little strangleholded here with the size and shape of this lot. I hate to give an easement, a variance, just because you want a 12 by 16 shed. It just so happens that's your lot right there. So I think you could alleviate this problem by making a smaller shed.
you need a small shed.
Hold on, we're deliberating.
We're
So,
deliberating.
so that being said, I'm not in favor of it as proposed with the 12 by 16 shed.
John?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I tend to agree with Ken somewhat here. I think you have some extenuating circumstances, though, with this easement. It really does kind of hamstring you from where you could put things. If you did put a 10 by 12 shed, we'd still have the problem, though.
He needs 5 feet.
You might, yeah, you possibly could pull the 5 feet, so I could see a smaller shed working. I think I'm okay with it, but I would also want it, a restriction of not taller than 10 feet in height. So if they were willing to accept that, I would vote in favor. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I agree with the board members. I have some concerns about the height especially.
Sir.
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 Trying to deliberate.
So I agree. I'm more concerned, I think, about the height, especially where it's in the back. I would vote for this, but there would have to be a height restriction. So,
Madam Chair, maybe we ask the applicant if they're okay with this restriction?
would you take a 10-foot height restriction?
It's to the, so it's 10 feet to the the way we do it is to the midpoint of the roof if it's a pitched roof.
Okay. Do you want to explain that? Excuse me. Excuse me. Mr. Zakelli is going to explain how they measure the roof, so you have a better understanding.
The way we measure height here in Danvers, as well as pretty much any municipality, is that if it's a pitched roof, you measure to the midpoint of the roof. So we're saying 10 feet to the midpoint of the roof. Not the
No,
top,
midpoint.
the midpoint. So if you have a triangle, it's, you know, if this is the base, this is the top, it's halfway. So halfway up the midpoint of the roof.
I don't think it's gonna be that tall.
That, so we're saying that we think it's reasonable, is what
Yes.
we're saying.
Could be more like 12 or.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, it makes it to the top, it's probably somewhere between 11, it's probably 11 and 11 and a half at the end of the day, but to the midpoint of the roof is 10.
I would, and Madam Chair, just to be clear, if they don't want to take the condition, I am not in favor of this.
No, I'm not either. I don't want a
Yeah.
two-story.
So
like,
I would be
oversized one.
more on Ken's sign, 10 by 12.
Considering they're allowed to, if you were 20 feet out, you would be able to go 20 feet tall.
Sure.
So
Just because it's
a
inside the
it's a
setback.
reasonable accommodation.
Right, I agree. So would you agree to that height restriction? Okay.
Would you like a motion?
Yes, please.
Madam Chair, I move that on 13 West Street, zoned R3, docket number 25-5102, we issue a variance under Table 2 of the zoning bylaw to construct a shed that is proposed to be 3.5 feet from the side property line where 20 feet is required, and that the proposed extension alteration of the use is not substantially more detrimental than the existing structure to the neighborhood. Adjacent properties would not be adversely impacted. The reduced dimensions would not be detrimental to the public good and would not substantially deviate from the intent or purpose of this bylaw, with also the condition that the height does not exceed 10 feet to the midpoint of the roof structure.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, you've been approved.
Good luck.
Good luck. Mr. Zakelli, I found the extension letter, so can we, I guess, put it in? Should we read it in?
You can read it in, yeah, makes sense.
Give it to the clerk. then.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You read it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dear Mr. Zakelli and board members, EDM Construction has retained my services to assist with effectively responding to questions and concerns raised by the board related to its proposal for on-site storage containers. I have met several times with the applicant, reviewed the application proposal, as well as the ZBA meeting tape. Currently, the applicant is diligently preparing responsive plan revisions and other information for the board's consideration. We are working on a revised plan that will address the board's concerns and potentially limit the relief sought. So on behalf of the applicant, they would like to request a continuance to the July 2025 meeting, which is scheduled for July 28th, 2025. Signed, Nancy McCann, Esquire.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved, Madam Chair.
All
I'll
in
second.
favor? Second, all in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
We are all done.